Hey, Kevin here, top 100 financial advisor, two-time author, one-time bestseller, and we are here to talk about the stock market. I have a few things that I want to discuss with y'all today. One stock that I've been telling y'all about, one stock that I did not see coming, and then what I think is the best stock for new investors. So we're going to try and cover all three of these things within 7 to 10 minutes. So as you are sitting there right now, go ahead and hit the share button. We had some great results from yesterday. We want to continue that momentum. So right now, hit the share button. We definitely want to get this out. So again, the stock I've been telling y'all about, a new stock that you might want to keep your eye on, and then one stock that I think is very good for beginning investors, especially for the long term. All right, so the stock I've been telling y'all about, and this was actually brought to my attention by Dr. Hans, the investor tutor. Y'all should definitely follow him on Instagram and Twitter. So he actually messaged me. He was like, "Hey, you were right," and I was like, on what? So I went and checked, and Google did really, really well on their earnings. Y'all know that I have been talking about Google for a while. We did a video back in December. If you got the 2021 Investing Yearbook, I told y'all that Google was my sleeping giant, the one I thought was Google and Square, actually. I thought were going to be like the biggest things in 2021. And I said, why? Everybody for the entire year, because we're in a pandemic, we're cutting back on marketing expenses. They were reducing things. People were getting laid off, unfortunately, and businesses didn't need to advertise if you were closed, right? Well, now that things are opening up, I said, look, Google did well last year. They did well last year, even without all the additional ad dollars due to the Android platform and YouTube and everything else. But even though they didn't do well, I knew that money was going to have to come back. I'm actually going to pull up a headline real quick so I don't misquote it, just to give you an idea of how well that bounce back has already started. So give me 1 second as I pull that up. I had it up earlier, and now I'm looking for it. I can't find it. So a few headlines just from CNBC. Number one, YouTube is a media juggernaut that could soon equal Netflix in revenue. Yes, Google, also known as Alphabet, owns YouTube and YouTube TV, which is a streaming service, very, very similar to cable. I use it when college football season starts, and I cut it off when it's over. So that's just me. Alphabet's profit, which, Google owns Alphabet. You get the whole thing. Or the other way around, rather. Their profits get $4.75 billion investment boost as startups soar. And then another headline, Alphabet reports big earnings beat as revenues grow 34%. Revenue up 34% in this first quarter. So again, I be telling y'all, I actually went back through my email. I'm not going to pull the email up, but went back through my email. There should have, you guys, if you're on the email list, buildingbread.com/free, you want to be on that. But going back to the email list itself, sent an email earlier this year, and I said, look, this December, I'm telling y'all, I think Google's going to be the one. And right now, it's looking like that's going to be the case. So that's the stock that, the one I've been telling y'all about. Go back, check the videos. Go back. If you got the Investing Yearbook, you will see it on there. So that's the one that I've been talking about. I'm a long-term investor in it anyway, so I really wasn't watching earnings because I'm going to invest in them anyway. So I personally was not moved by what was going to happen. So there you go. All right, so moving on, what is the stock that you should probably have your eye on, and one that snuck up on me? That is Crocs. Yes, Crocs, Crox, the shoe. My son just brought some Crocs. My father-in-law has Crocs. I ain't know much about them. Apparently, some celebrities wear Crocs too. And look, I don't know nothing about it up until today when they also announced earnings. It's earnings week. Like a lot of companies coming out and saying stuff about how good or bad they were. But Crocs, over the last 12 months, they're up over 290 some odd percent. I think 294 was the number that Yahoo Finance gave me. I'll double check that real quick too before I misquote it. Yeah, 294.42% in the last year. For context, the overall stock market, the S&P 500, is only up 49.59%. I'm sorry, 47.59%. That's almost 300%. And that's not a company that, first of all, I'll be honest with you, I didn't know Crocs was even public. And it kind of does make sense because remember, Lululemon, Nike, a lot of those companies that were pretty much stay-at-home plays did do well. I am told, because again, I've never worn them, that they were the pandemic shoe and that nurses love these shoes. Again, not something I would have thought of. If you invested in Crocs, good on you, because that's just not something that ever crossed my mind ever. Now, the question is, should you invest in it moving forward? That part I'm not sure. I don't know yet because, again, this just popped up on my radar. Has Crocs always been this way? Has it always been a hot stock and nobody knew? Is it just pandemic boom and we'll see where it goes? Or is it just actually gaining in popularity and becoming a bigger shoe brand? These things I don't know yet. These are things that I am more than willing to look more into. All y'all got to do is say in the comments, like, yeah, we want a Crocs video. Maybe we want Crocs versus not Netflix, Nike or something like that. So y'all let me know. If y'all interested in it, we'll do a video on it. If not, then I'll just, put the feather in my cap and come back to it later. But that was one that really shocked me. And now I want to move to the last topic, which is, and now I'll add one other thing at the end. But what it was a stock I think is good for new investors. I may have said this before, but I think that company is Microsoft. I'm not always going to think that it's Microsoft, but I think it's the right type of company that is in the middle in terms of safety. Like it's been around for a while. They're not going bankrupt. They have good returns, but not blockbuster crazy returns. So right in the middle. So if you are new, I think someone asked me this the other day, they were looking at like Tesla as a first-time investor. Yeah, you can make some money on Tesla, at least what's what the history tells us. But Tesla can be very volatile because Elon Musk can be very volatile. They did have some good numbers the other day, but the stock actually fell, I think, yesterday. But in any case, I know for a fact Microsoft going to be here. They get those government contracts, $21 billion the other day. They got the market. You know what you're going to get out of a Microsoft. So if I am brand new, if I was brand new into this, I wish I did this myself. I did not back at the time. I would get me something like Microsoft. Number 2 on my list would probably be a Disney as a new investor. These are companies I know, companies I understand, and companies, especially for Microsoft, I can look back 20 years, I'm going to be okay, right? Especially the last 10 years, I'm going to definitely be okay. So that's where I would go if I'm a new investor. Now, lastly, as we wrap this up, the next question you might be asking is like, how do I know? Like, how do I know where to kind of move in the market? And how did you know that Google was going to be one of those places to invest? How do you know that a Microsoft or whatever? Because we had been talking about Google and Microsoft specifically, right? We've been talking about Square. I talked about O'Reilly's a while back. Adobe and T-Mobile and others. So you're not going to be right 100% of the time. I am not right 100% of the time. I will be the first one to let you know that. However, when you're looking at the overall economy in the stock market, because those are technically separate, but I'll say this, you want to take a look at the economy and see where the economy is going, see where the world is moving, and see where the money is moving. That is the most important thing. Now, it does take practice. And the problem and difficulty with this is that you have a perception of what you think is going to happen, and then based on where money is moving and what is happening in the news, there is a reality of where things are moving. And it's difficult, very, very, very difficult to separate the two, because hype can move the market. You can ask Dogecoin and SafeMoon and all these other random cryptocurrencies, but you can also separate that and say, I do know for a fact that all these banks are actually buying Bitcoin. So there is a reason to move in that direction. So you got to be able to separate the two. For me, we knew what was happening last year during the pandemic because we saw it, right? We knew things were shut down. So real estate just probably wasn't going to be a place to go. We saw people moving out of travel because obviously that wasn't a place to go. So the things that were not in favor last year may actually be in favor now, have probably been in favor for the majority of this year. I think we should do at this point, y'all comment, y'all let me know in the comments. I think this is the time that we should really, really reevaluate travel, because as they start to do earnings, things are going to look crazy because you had 0 people, now you got 5 people. That's a 500% increase, and that's going to be like a headline, right? But aside from that, over the last, I would say probably since February, now is the time to really come back and reevaluate those travel stocks. This kind of does still include airlines. I'll do it, right? I'm more comfortable now than what I was previously. Y'all know I'm more Southwest, Delta than American and Spirit. But in either case, it's time to start considering those, but also the things like, Trivago and Expedia and some of the travel adjacent. So not necessarily airline, but also benefits from travel. Maybe you want to consider Airbnb. It wouldn't be me, but you can look at that as well. So now's the time to start to look at those. Y'all want to cover some of those, feel free to say, hey, let's cover those travel stocks and talk about those. Because again, economy wise, we know things are opening up. We know a good chunk of Americans are vaccinated. We know the summer's coming. that travel is going to come, right? So if you're a longer term investor like myself, if I'm buying something and holding it for 6 months, maybe a year, this would be the time. Now you could argue, well, I could have got it last year. You could have. You also could have been losing money for a good chunk of last year too. So my thing is, if I'm gonna get a stock, I want to catch it on the way up and not always on the way down, because I can get it here and it just keeps falling and it's going to take forever for it to come back. So I like to see things on the elevator on the way up, and now might be that time depending on what you're looking for. So those were the points. How do you kind of find what's going on? You got to look at the economy and see what's moving. It's not the easiest thing to do. I have a degree in economics. I've been doing this for 10 years. So that's why you come here, so we can start to learn and practice together. If you've been here for a while, especially for the last year, you've probably gotten the hang of it. So it does take practice. Come out here, share the video, sign up for the email list. You're going to be all right, because you get these tips all the time. Stock that I think is booming, like I've been saying, is Google. The one that you should consider if you are new, you might want to check out Microsoft. And the one that just snuck out of nowhere is Crocs. We just got to do more research there, because I can't say, yeah, I'm going to invest in it. It's something that shocked me. I'm going to keep my eye on it, and it's just interesting. All right, so let me know what you think in the comments below. Do we want to check out travel? Do we want to check out Crocs? What do you guys want to cover next? Make sure you're on the email list. I am teaching some classes this Saturday, May 1st. I'm also teaching 2 classes next week. These are brand new classes on how you can create your own 6-figure investing plan. And it's a reason why I picked 6 figures. So you want to make sure that you are signed up for that. The only way you can get is being on the email list, so you can get these reminders. So make sure you do that, and make sure you open the email to click and sign up. All right, that's it for me. I'll talk to you guys later.